Welcome to Modern Home Masterminds with beSpoke Brokers. I'm Shawna Glazier, designated broker and owner.
And I'm Brittainy Williamson, associate broker. Shawna and I are beSpoke real estate, but we're also your guides to modern luxury across the entire state of Arizona.
Each week, we chat with masterminds shaping the modern spaces. Would you like to get a behind-the-scenes look at your design build team's processes? Well, open communication and teamwork will lead you to a successful project.
From architects to builders, designers, and more, let's explore the art of modern living together.
All right, welcome back, listeners. Have you ever wondered what it's like to scale a thriving design business before you're even 30? Well, today's guest, Kaitlyn Wolfe, has done just that, combining a bold vision, serious hustle, and a love for modern design to build something truly iconic.
That's right. Kaitlyn is the founder of Kaitlyn Wolfe Studio, a Scottsdale-based design firm she launched in 2016. As both a designer and licensed general contractor, she leads a team that crafts high-end residential and commercial spaces. And she even has her own custom furniture line, a new tile line, as well as a curated store where people can shop her look. Her work is known for blending natural elements with a fresh mix of vintage and modern. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I love that introduction.
Welcome.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right, Kaitlyn. So how does someone in their 20s go from launching a design build firm to leading one of the most recognizable interior design brands in Arizona? Let's dive in.
Yeah. So I was pretty young when I decided, I think I knew internally that I always wanted my own business. I felt like I was always a natural leader in anything I did growing up. And I always was so interested in interior design and home improvement. My dad was an electrical engineer. I think I was always interested in how things were built, how things were made, just playing with design as I, grew up. And so I think naturally, like inside, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I feel like, went through the years of just like, what am I going to do as my career? And not really having a mentor in my life to say like, interior design is a career and, moving around a lot growing up and living on the East Coast. I feel like being an interior designer wasn't something that I necessarily saw. Like I saw it on TV. And so I think I tried to kind of suppress that feeling of like, this is what I really want to be and want to do until, I graduated college and decided I'm going to leave the East Coast. I want to come more of the West Coast and figure out like what opportunities there could be. I fell in love with the desert. I got a job working for an interior designer and architect. I was getting my MBA and I just knew like, okay, business, design, like this is where I'm meant to be. So I think having that like really strong intuition of like, this is what I'm meant to do really gave me that confidence, I think. And of course, at the time, I think I was a little naive of, what was I really doing starting a business, doing interior design, doing construction too. But I was so passionate about it and I felt so strong about it that it was almost like it wasn't really a choice. Like it was what I needed to do. So working for a designer and learning the design side of things, learning some architectural programs, I felt the need to want to know, again, more about how things were built. So I decided to work for a general contractor, got construction experience running remodels, talking to trades, figuring out estimating and just all of the technical side of the industry, and decided to get my own GC license. And that's really what kind of kicked off my own business full time, was doing design build projects. And so for me, it was like I really wanted to be that resource for a client from start to finish, because I felt like in so many scenarios, the clients are kind of left, in between their designer, their builder, their architect, and they have to kind of navigate it. And I felt like I wanted to be that person that they could count on from the beginning to the end. And so that's kind of what got me started in doing the smaller design to build stuff. So it would be like full, kitchen remodel or bathroom remodel, kind of one room at a time, as I was a small team in a one-person show. And then it just kind of took off from there.
So impressive.
It is. Did you major in design or anything like that in college?
So my degree is in biology and neuroscience.
Okay.
So no, I didn't. But I think, again, it was like I didn't really have a mentor, saying like this was a career. I was always told interior design is just a hobby. So I was doing it in my spare time. I was, redesigning people's spaces, posting it on social media, and people would just like refer me and I would just do it in my spare time. And then again, I just was like, I need to get out of the East Coast and just do what I know, what I want to do. So once I got the opportunity just to get my foot in the door professionally in the industry, I just learned everything on the job.
Yeah. Your construction background is just so key.
Yeah, and I think as we've grown, because of course we started, everything was design build. So everything we did was for remodels. And then, and I think at that time I was so in my own bubble. Like, I don't think I really knew, there's not many designers, in town that are also doing construction, or contractors that are doing full design, with full interiors and furniture and all the things. And I think as my business grew and I was kind of just focusing on what I was doing and hustling and growing the team, I started building relationships in the industry with other builders and other architects, and getting super interested in designing for, new builds from the ground up. And I think having that construction knowledge, working with these builders and architects, allowed me to bring another perspective to the table, and like really, again, provide more of like a holistic design approach from the beginning. So I love working with other builders and architects, like even when we're not doing the construction, since we only do remodels, because I think we can like collaborate so much more.
Definitely. I want to talk a little bit about your design style and philosophy, because we know it's very grounded in nature and you very much like to be outside. You have been to how many national parks?
So I've done all of them now. So literally over 4 years span, my husband and I, in between running our own businesses, we set out to do all the national parks, which is a big goal. And it wasn't our goal in the beginning. We kind of started doing them during COVID when people weren't flying. So we would drive to the nearby parks, and then we just kind of became obsessed. And he's loves to plan travel, and so I was like, perfect, I have work to do, you plan the travel, I'll schedule the days off. And then we ended up over the 4 years getting to all 63 national parks. And I think for me it was like, again, that hustle, that grind mode that I had at work, like I really needed the other extreme, which was like getting away from work too.
Unplugging.
And yeah, just like allowing my mind to like think, and not only from a creative standpoint of just like regenerating those creative juices, but also like from a business standpoint, and also a personal mental health standpoint. Like I needed that time away to like reflect on my business and where I was going and what moves I wanted to make strategically. Like I came up with so many business ideas on a hike, or even just like design ideas of what to do with a kitchen or a color palette. Like that's what helped me then get back to the office after and just like get back at it 100%. So
So do you pull some of your design and the palette and the colors? Does it come from nature? Are you inspired by nature? Or is it more just the time you take to unwind and relax?
It's definitely both, but I think for sure I'm so inspired by nature when it comes to our aesthetic. And I discovered just, as you are creative, you discover your own personal aesthetic even more over time. And I found that I was really inspired by just organic design, meeting that modern contemporary look. So Frank Lloyd Wright's a huge inspiration for me. And of course, just living in Arizona, living in the desert, I loved that juxtaposition of like something super modern and brutalist in architecture, but nestled in the mountains, and how we can bring nature inside of people's homes. So I think, because I loved being in nature so much, like the way that I can bring that into our projects was just natural
Yeah, I
for me.
wonder if we want to share some photos too of.
For the design.
Oh, there you
Yes.
are.
Yeah, so that was our last park, Grand Teton National Park. But even in like, bathroom vanity, just the shapes in the natural stones that we love to use. Of course, natural materials. We love wood, as much natural light, as we can get into a space. And I think that's what we have really been known for, is like that really organic, soft look, but it's still clean, it's minimal, it's functional. We love to prioritize lighting in a space and functionality. So I think all of that coming together is what makes
That's
a
something
space.
that we found, that our modern home clients, a lot of times, people think modern and they think kind of hard, cold, sterile. You bring a softness into it, I think, with that organic design, which is really cool.
Yeah. I think, again, I love that like unexpected. Like I feel like I like to do that with every project, is do something unexpected where people look at it and are like, oh, I haven't seen that before. Or I wouldn't have expected to do that, or I haven't thought to do that before. I think that's like in my nature to want to do something different. And yeah, I feel like it's that juxtaposition.
That chair, the bathroom chair.
Yeah.
Can you go to the photo of the bathroom chair?
Yeah, so essentially how we designed it, we wanted the vanity to look like a piece of furniture. This was a Jack and Jill bath for two sisters that were sharing the bathroom. And so we came up with this creative idea to actually have a vanity chair look like drawers and look like the leg of the vanity. And when you pull on that handle, it pulls the chair out. And that's another thing again, I like to do something different. I feel like when I present some crazy ideas to my clients and they're like, oh, can I see a picture of this done before? Have you done this? And I'm like, nope, like this is just coming from my brain. And like, you need to trust me. And I feel like for me too, it's having those craftsmen to work with that I know can achieve this. It's like, I have the confidence in them. Like, we're going to figure it out. We're going to engineer it because we work with such amazing people that can build whatever we come up with. And so I always have the confidence of like, okay, we have this idea. We're going to figure it out. It might have to be modified along the way to make it work and be functional. But I think it's, that's what I want to bring my clients is like something that no one else has.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, let's talk a little bit about your process. What is it like to work with you from your clients from when you first meet them until like final install? What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, it's very different from a remodel versus a new build, but I think for me, I always like to start with the bigger picture and really just figure out what are the project's goals. So I like to learn about my client. What is the goal of this project? Is this a long-term space? Is it maybe an investment property? Obviously, is it getting the scope, figuring out who's on the team? I think just getting all of those overarching aspects. And then it's like a doctor, right? It's like you need to ask all the probing questions.
Do the research.
Yeah. And then you can be like, okay, I need a diagnosis and break it down. I think that's just how my brain works, in all ways. So just really understanding, the overall project scope so I can know, okay, here's our approach. Because at the end of the day, we'll have certain design philosophies and, materials and shapes that we want to use. But I think every client needs a little bit of a different approach depending on the scale of the project, the timeline, the personality of the client. And I think that all that has to be considered because your process kind of needs to match, and make it work for the project you're working on. So getting all that figured out. And then I think really, it's a layered process for us in design. And a lot of times we like to go slowly into it because some clients need a little bit more time to process. And so firstly, working through the inspiration or the conceptual design of a project. And if we're working with a new build or an existing space, a lot of times we're considering the architecture. And again, because we love to bring the nature inside, it's like, where is this space? What do the views look like? What does the architecture look like? And then also, what does our client's life look like? Like, what is their history? How do we want to bring some of their travels into the space? And then, of course, learning their functionality of each room. So it's kind of breaking out all the information to then be like, okay, here's like this material makes sense for them because of X, Y, Z. And then, of course, you have budget and you have all the other factors to consider. And then really for us, we're super detailed when it comes to our documents. And I think that comes from that experience on the construction side and that collaboration and knowing like we've used our own drawings to, talk to a fabricator about this ourselves. And so I oftentimes know what details that they need. And I think that helps the builder ahead of time. And so we do, really detailed 3D renderings for our clients, obviously, showroom visits, sample reviews, and then we go into AutoCAD drawings for all of our measurements, detailed finish schedules, and we just try to keep the information as organized as possible because that's really what we were doing is organizing information and tracking it along the way. Yeah. Design is like this much of the job, and then the rest is like making sure everyone knows what's going on.
And you're predominantly doing new builds or full remodels at this point, correct?
Yep. We do a lot of like, let's say like full home furnishings and maybe it's a light remodel. And those actually work really well for us because let's say someone buys a home and they want to kind of customize it, but they want to do full furnishings. Those are great because we have the in-house construction to handle the remodel, but it's kind of too small of a remodel to outsource to a separate GC. So even if it's not a full home remodel, if they want to do full furnishings and we want to customize things along the way, that works for us too. And then commercial, you mentioned, so we do actually a lot of like TI build outs for different spaces, hospitality, hair salons, things like that. We love commercial spaces. And I think as a business owner, I love to connect with other business owners. And I think that's an exciting part of our business too.
Yeah, so I think we have some of your projects here on the screen if you want to talk a little bit about.
Yeah, so some of this is our new build that we've done. And, new builds are such a long process and they're so fun. And working with the client becomes like a marriage. And the remodels are usually a little bit quicker. And so I think that's also nice, for us to kind of flex between the two and have some balance there. But yeah, I mean, I like to stay away from.
Is that a rammed earth wall back there?
Yes.
That's cool.
So this is actually a guest house in Desert Mountain.
Really?
And so it has the rammed earth architecture and they wanted the guest house to feel like a boutique hotel. And so we
it
actually
looks like that.
yes. And we actually designed each room had its own name. We created logos. There's little like etched logos on the doors.
And these projects are on your website too for our listeners that aren't watching.
Yes.
They can
Yeah.
go on them.
Our website is almost like an index, like a library. We have a pretty big depth of a portfolio. And so I think
if you go, this is Joshua Tree, right? Or is it Indian Bend?
No, Joshua Tree. Yeah, that's our Joshua Tree project. We've won a few awards with this dining room. That was with Candelaria and T-Mac. That was
we
spec
saw
build.
that. Yeah, we saw that, and it's back on the market now. I think.
Yeah.
What is it? 14 million? 14 million. I think
it sold for 13 something, and now it's on the market for like 14.9.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I think custom cabinetry is something that, millwork and lighting, I think, are big elements in our spaces. And again, just partnering with local millworkers that can build whatever we dream up is what we love. Like this vanity is one of my favorite primary bath designs that we've done, and just like that asymmetry, but still feels super balanced and warm.
Is there another one on the other side that matches it?
Yeah.
That's the way the mirror
reflects.
I
was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah. It goes in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you mentioned your website. One of the things, and we were lucky enough to get to come and tour your space, which if you have a chance, go and tour her space. You have to. One of the things that you do have on your website, but you have in your physical space as well, is the Shop My Warehouse, where clients can actually come in and shop your look. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that and how that evolved?
Yes. So that all started when actually we were designing some spec homes, and I needed to furnish them because I didn't want to hire a separate staging company. I really wanted to make sure the vision was coming through. And so on top of, getting some inventory for staging, I also love to source vintage in my travels. And so I would buy things and be like, I don't have a use for it yet, but I'm going to find a project. And then, things would kind of pile up, and we would have a designated space in our warehouse just for these items that I would buy over time. And then once I had kind of a surplus inventory, I was like, okay, I got to get some of this out of my warehouse. So I started doing like pop-up sales at different spec builds, where I would just post on Instagram and try to get the community to come out and, buy furniture. And it was so difficult to like find the pricing and do all the transactional stuff because I didn't have it set up. And then literally it was like the week my whole team had off between Christmas and New Year's, and I like set up a whole Shopify storefront, moved all the inventory, and I was like, all right, guys, we have a shop now. And we ended up needing more warehouse space. So we actually got the studio warehouse space 3 doors down from our studio, and then we decided to launch our whole receiving services. So now when we purchase furniture for clients, we actually have it shipped to our own warehouse. I have my own receiving team that inspects everything, stores it. So we moved all of our client product into a separate warehouse, and then we decided to turn our current warehouse into what we call now Shop My Warehouse.
It's so cute.
And since that concept launched, I've since curated everything now into like a real store. And so pretty much now what I source is for the shop, and now we have it available to the public. It's available to our clients, which is so great for us to kind of give our clients first dibs on certain things I've picked up in my travels. And it's just a really great space.
And you have your own furniture line.
Yes. So this was actually, that came years ago because honestly, too soon. I was still growing my business. I wasn't even in my current space. And I knew I wanted to have my own furniture line. I just had so many ideas to draw up different shapes and silhouettes. And, maybe it wasn't for a client. I just wanted to create a collection. And so that's called Ground Floor. And we actually launched that at the end of 2023, the first collection of it. And it was super successful. We had like an amazing launch party. And then it was like we launched it and we were like, okay, now what, right? So we had this, and it's just a capsule collection. So the goal is like we create these silhouettes and these shapes, and once the collection's gone, it's gone. So since then, now our next collection launches in 2 weeks. So we have a launch party happening. And because we got that additional studio space for the warehouse, it had a retail space in the front. And I was like, perfect, let's turn that into Ground Floor. So now every part of the business kind of has a home. And I would say, it's all coming together, and we're really excited about it.
And if there's not enough yet, there's also a tile line, which I think is stunning and beautiful. And everyone we show the pictures to, it's just so different. Helena, I know you brought your box and we have a photo of it, but this is so cool. If you would just share with our audience a little bit about this tile line.
Yeah. So Product, I think in general, really excites me. I feel like for me, as a designer and design build firm, I want to keep the boutique feel that we have. I want that one-on-one connection with my clients. And so when we look at growing the business and scaling, for me, it's more on the product side. And so I think that's where I have been so focused on like launching these new parts of the business while still keeping our core design and build, connection and foundation strong. So Substrate came along, and the fun thing about this is our ground floor collection that launches in a couple weeks has the tile on the pieces, because that's kind of our iconic look to ground floor is we have tiled furniture, which I think is not as common as something that you see. So we were able to kind of marry the two brands, and it makes it really exciting for the possibilities for someone to, let's say, want a ground floor piece, but choose a different tile from the collection on their piece to brand it to their space or to their business. So this is one of our sample boxes, and we have a little video inside, which is the surprise.
So cool.
So we sell these on our website, substratetile.com, and this is my picks. So I've essentially curated 5 different sample boxes based on landscapes. So one of them is my picks, and then we have along the coast, up in the mountains, exploring the desert. And you'll basically essentially get like a curated collection of tiles from the full collection that kind of go with that landscape, and then, or if you want my picks, my top picks.
I love it.
So, the plastic comes off. You have all these loose samples. Everything's labeled, and so this becomes like a really nice statement to your library.
What a fun box to get.
I know, right? And this is great for other interior designers too.
Yeah.
Your tile line.
Yes. I mean, essentially, it's geared towards the trade,
Mhm.
or, to people that, and this can sell anywhere in the U.S., so it's not just Arizona, but, there's a lot of communities out there where maybe they don't have access to interior designers, or maybe it's a developer that wants a designer look, but they're kind of, piecing it together themselves. They can have a designer curated collection. And I find a lot of the tile collections on the market that are curated by designers are very small. Like it's one line or one pattern, maybe comes in a few colors, whereas this is so diverse that you can choose, a large format for your flooring. You can choose a specialty tile for your bar, and everything, like you can kind of mix and match. So
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful. All right. We have a little, did you have another question?
No, it is so much. I don't know how you keep track of it all, but you're so put together and everything seems to be running smoothly, and you just have all of these branches, which it's very impressive.
I mean, we got to see her team. You have an impressive
Yes.
team that supports you and is around you helping out. So
yeah, I mean, I couldn't do this without my team. Let's put it that way. I think, hiring the right people is a really really big part of growing a business and being successful. And, so basically, essentially within the team, I have about 25 employees, and that makes up our design team, construction team, procurement, operations, and marketing. And so everyone works.
well, and I think you shared with us when we were touring your office that marketing, you're now finally at a place where you can start marketing, which is why you agreed to join us on this
Yeah,
podcast.
I mean-
So thank you.
It's been so much building things, like building the business, building the product lines, coming up with all these ideas. And now it's like, honing in that messaging and getting the right people to find our product. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. All right. Well, we like to do a little rapid fire.
Okay.
So, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's one design trend you're loving right now?
I think
Paneled walls?
I would say like irregular shapes. I mean, I love a little funk in a space. So I think that whether it's furniture, art piece, lighting, fixture, I think bringing in some more organic feel to
Yeah,
a
I like
space
that.
is fun.
Yeah, it makes it kind of custom.
Yeah.
Right? Not everybody has irregular shapes
Yeah.
in their places. What is one dream city or location that you love to design a home in? Because I know you travel a lot.
Oh my God. That's so funny. That's a really good question. I mean, I was just in Lisbon in Portugal, so I feel like that would be pretty fun. I think there's so much history. And it's actually like really tile focused. They use so much handmade tile there. So I think for me, I was kind of in love. So I think that would be fun.
Yeah. I love Lisbon. Beautiful. What's one item in your home you can't live without?
I would say I have these 2 ceramic stand bitters sculptures, and I'm a really big fan of stand bitters and ceramics in general. So I think that those will have to stay with me forever.
You have to send me a picture.
Yeah, I will.
What is your secret talent or hobby outside of design and or business? Outside of those 2 things.
let's see.
She doesn't have time.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I think secret talent.
Or it could be a hobby. I mean, we know that you hike and all that with the parks. Anything else?
Gosh, I feel like my whole life is my business.
Yeah.
Secret talent. Yeah, I honestly, hiking. I mean, it's not a secret talent though, but I mean, I think we are extreme hikers. Like we
Yeah.
can do like 20 miles at a time. And, for me, I think that's not something that most people
No.
do
it's not.
on a daily
It's not.
basis. So,
Mm-mm.
Well, and that leads into the last one, which is what's your favorite national park?
Wrangell St. Elias in Alaska.
Really?
Alaska has 8 parks out of the 63, so it's a lot, but no one really talks about Wrangell St. Elias. And for us, it was just like the flight seeing tours and the microclimates and the mountains were the best for us. So,
Oh, sounds wonderful.
I think it's an incredible feat that you completed all of them.
yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on our show and talking with us and letting us tour your space. We are going to link all of your contact information in our show notes, but if you want to tell our listeners the best place they can find you.
Yeah, best place is on our Instagram, which is just Kaitlyn Wolfe __ or on our website, KaitlynWolfe.com. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's great. That's it for today's episode of Modern Home Mastermind. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, rate, and subscribe.
Yeah, thanks to our guest for sharing her insights and to you for learning about everything modern with us.
And if you're ready to take the next step in your real estate journey, please reach out to us at beSpoke Real Estate. And until next time, keep living, loving everything modern.